All right. Hey, hello. It's Soul with what I think is a different guide to gold making that is as stress-free as possible. This is going to be a weird one. This isn't a Brutosaur kind of guide where I tell you just how much per day you need to make to get yourself that auction house mount at sticker price. Think of this as, well, it's going to be part tips, part anecdotes, part pep talk maybe. I don't know if this is going to be helpful at all, but I thought that I would try a different approach to gold making. So instead of specifics that might vary in effectiveness per server, I'm going to help you develop the general mindset of a gold maker, which is much more valuable, in my opinion. So let's get started. When it comes to gold making, I want you to have it in your head that you're going to adopt a number of routines in your gold making career. You're going to be wearing several different hats, so to speak. It could be the gathering kind of hat, it could be running old content or farming for raw gold, producing stuff, posting auctions, shuffling materials, you name it. There are plenty of guides that get into the nitty-gritty of all that stuff. Ideally, you want to choose a few of these hats or gold-making practices that you'll switch between until eventually it all just flows together. Stress-free gold making feels like a natural part of your day. You're hardly taking up any more extra time that you aren't already. You're not taking time away from one activity in favor of another. Now, I'm not the best example, because of what I do to make gold, like my scope, is very narrow, but so is my available time online, which sounds absurd, right? Coming from a content creator. I sell glyphs and tomes on the auction house by posting about twice a day, maybe 3 times. Every 3 days, I take 1 hour to farm Fellwort world quests over in the Broken Isles on all 12 or so of my alts. I check the auction house every now and then for cheap materials, and then I craft glyphs and farm for Dreamleaf over in Val'sharah once a week. And since the start of 2020, I have like 4 million some gold on my auction house character, minus some game time giveaways and game time for myself. Again, it's all about turning gold making into a part of your day or week with minimal disruption to your normal routine. It's not a full-time job, this whole gold making business, it's a part-time distraction. That's the goal here. You're going to work hard at first, but it's not because it's hard. It's because you're probably trying out something new. It's different. You're learning something, or you're following a guide with all this unfamiliar jargon. It's going to take a while to see if the investment of time and gold was worth the effort, and trust me, it probably is. It took me about a year to get used to selling glyphs and working out a system for myself that worked with my schedule and everything. It took many more years to influence the market on my server to not be so cutthroat among fellow vendors, to weed out the bots and the other bad actors, and to encourage fair prices for everyone without being too greedy. So for me, for a time, I talked to some of these big vendors pretty regularly to remind them that no, I'm not a bot, and to, double check that they are, but also to inform them that I'm not trying to encroach or conquer them. I just want to quietly take my piece of the pie. Now, you're probably not going to dedicate yourself at that level. You don't have to, because there are plenty of ways to make gold. And to be frank, you just need to shut up and try it out, even if it doesn't look so glamorous, because it's not. So here's an example. World Quest emissaries that award, I think 3,000 gold or so, are a far cry from the Legion mission table or even the Warlords of Draenor mission table that could easily award much more than that with very little effort. At least after you put in the time investment to develop the Legion Order Hall or the Garrison or whatever back in the day. But all that stuff is gone, and really we just had to get over it. Today, I just need to suck it up and take that 15 or 20 minutes to get that gold. And it helped when I stopped thinking that those sorts of activities were beneath me. I mean, I have a lot of alts, and that's a lot of gold between so many alts, and at least I didn't have to go through multiple Argus campaigns and Order Hall campaigns to immediately start farming for all this gold. So that's maybe 2-3 or so hours of work completing these simple tasks to generate roughly 40,000 gold, and I have 3 days to do it. Remember, I'm just talking about emissary quests. So if you have that kind of time to dedicate for it, great. Not everyone has that time though. Great. Gathering professions are probably the best professions to have for characters that are just designed to make you gold, like the really bummy alts. Your characters that run lots of mythic pluses and raids, on the other hand, well, you may want to look at what, if any, crafting materials come only from, like, dungeons in this example. So with those characters, those high-performing characters, consider investing into a crafting profession that can make valuable items for your gathering that your gathering characters can never hope to make. And if you happen to be on a realm that's saturated with herbs and ore and skin, resources, double-check fishing. It's often overlooked because of the tedium, but fish are typically pretty valuable because of the tedium. On a side note, it's just another reminder, I say this a lot in my other gold making videos, but your realm economy plays a huge part in what you decide to do to make gold. Each realm has its own strengths and weaknesses, where some items will sell better or move faster than others. So if you're going to play the market, it's going to be up to you to identify those opportunities. If your favorite way to make gold is oversaturated and you ignore other markets that are ripe for conquest, that's a goal that you decided to not make. Broadly speaking though, I would argue that gathering is one of the most relaxing ways to make gold out there. The activity itself is straightforward and predictable. You just go out and gather, maybe pop up in some Netflix or YouTube stuff. And it doesn't take much more than a reminder that materials are the highest in demand at the very beginning of an expansion, when min-maxers are trying to make gear ASAP so they can start running even higher level content. Shadowlands is definitely no exception. Crafting is going to be essential to construct legendary gear. And if I'm guessing right, a lot of players are going to be crafting or even recrafting numerous legendary pieces of gear per character to suit whatever their demands are. And without a doubt, Torghast is going to open the door further, luring people who are normally wary of higher level group content into this endless dungeon. So both materials and crafting professions are going to be a huge market, depending on your realm. And if you don't have alts, that's totally okay. You're just going to have to make the most out of your main. That's going to mean knocking out those emissary quests and even those paragon caches. And older content is worth looking at too. And I'm not talking about going out of your way to run old raids. Well, you can do that too if you have time, but take Blood of Sargeras in Legion for example, and this is what I do every now and then. There are still, on occasion, world quests on the Broken Isles that can grant you up to 10 Blood of Sargeras, and you can take this 10 blood over to a vendor for crafting materials. For me, I traded in for Dreamleaf, and on my realm, 100 Dreamleaf, which is what that 10 blood would get you, is worth almost 1,000 gold on the auction house. If you have a scribe, then you can mill this down into materials for those harder to make Legion glyphs, or you can create and sell the glyph yourself. Again, it depends on if this is really profitable on your realm. If you have a Legion herbalist on top of that, you can farm Fellwort world quests, like I mentioned earlier, that only asks you to run out every 3 days. And you might get an additional Fellwort seed that sells pretty well. And this entire Broken Isles effort, all that took was just a quick glance at the map. And there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, easy to access stuff that might be profitable where you're at. Here's a little bit more on old content. Your garrison is probably gathering dust when you can put it to work maybe. I talked about bags in an earlier video, but I'm going to talk about this more broadly. My tip is to double check the prices of Warlords herbs and ore on your realm. Now, you probably won't make much off of it right now, but wait until Shadowlands when everyone's ground pounding, as in not flying. You're going to find the price of true iron ore and sumptuous fur, which are the materials needed for goblin gliders, to go up. Your garrison is just a Hearthstone away, so you might as well check back on it every now and then. I think the bestest tip that I can give you is to go out of your way to avoid stress and pressure and burnout. Seriously. I admit that I take WoW, kind of seriously sometimes, but we're all playing a game, And it's important to balance our competitive nature with some even-handedness. There are lots of ways to make gold, like I said. Lots of guides and tools and add-ons and videos, but I strongly encourage you to not overwhelm yourself with too much information, or to set up multiple projects on subjects that you're just kind of dipping your feet into. For example, notice I haven't said a damn thing about buying low and selling high, or selling carries, or the farming and selling of transmog, because I know nothing about it, other than that it makes a lot of money, and in the case of transmog, it requires vigilant reposting. But I decided long ago that inscription is my specialization, I guess. And it's not totally broken yet, thank goodness, so my lack of diversity is a gamble that has so far paid off. Let me round up the takeaways, because somewhere in all this talking was a list. So, you want to set reasonable goals. It's less effective to pressure yourself to make Brutosaur kinds of money. Instead, work towards building a disciplined, consistent routine towards making gold. Don't count on seeing results quickly if you want to take fewer risks. Now, I'm not saying that you're not allowed to take risks, but that's just how I roll, and if that's how you roll, cool. Keep an open mind, but when it's decision time, stick to just a few methods of gold making, balancing methods that you enjoy and local markets that have weak competition. And then once you decide on these, master the process. And not all the time is it going to be just follow the guide. For the most part, you may be figuring this out by yourself. I recommend filling out your day with easy side activities like old world quests and garrison content. And don't look down on small sources of gold if you otherwise don't have anything else better to do. And this may not help at the moment, but gathering is going to be your safest bet for gold. Just not now, wait until like Shadowlands starts or raid tier start and stuff like that. So that's going to be a wrap, and I would like to think that this helped just a teeny bit. Now, too often I see people who want to make gold, but they're not ready or aware that there's a certain mindset involved, which isn't the same as going super hardcore, rolling 50 alts, triple boxing, or otherwise being forced to do certain things outside of their comfort zone. So feel free to share your useful tips or words of encouragement to budding goblins in a comment below. Don't forget to like the video if this felt useful and to subscribe for more of this and all things Warcraft. We'll see you later. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.